Good morning and welcome back to Drawing with Michael. This morning, of course, is my daily warm-up. I will be getting into, I think, a little bit more detailed items, but those are going to be obviously not part of the warm-up series. The warm-up is primarily here to show you guys that we all have time to do something in the world of art in terms of sketching and having fun, so that's what I am doing. I basically have created so many different images in my warm-ups. I've done just, traditional work. I love working traditionally, so it kind of gives you an understanding that maybe I got a little bit of an addiction problem when it comes to drawing. But I think that's a good thing. So this morning we're going to be drawing some ogres. Ogres and creatures, you guys know that I love doing creatures. So, that being said, that's what we're doing today. You guys know that I am a professional illustrator, or at least those of you who are on my channel all the time. You guys know that I don't use YouTube as a revenue resource like a lot of other YouTubers do. I basically use YouTube as a marketing tool, and it keeps my name and my face out there, so if I ever want to get a job, I'll basically, I include my YouTube link to my videos, and it actually has helped me quite a bit. Quite a few clients that I've received over the past few years have definitely mentioned my YouTube channel in terms of one of the deciding factors in hiring me. If one day I do receive some type of monetary compensation from YouTube, that would be great, but at this particular point in time, I am, of course, not a professional YouTuber. It is a wonderful thing that, people can make tons and tons of money doing that, but at the end of the day, that's not why I'm doing the videos. So, faces. You guys know that I love faces. Yesterday I did a dragon. I love doing dragons. It's part of, I call it your artistic tool belt. That's something that I'm sure as an illustrator or graphic designer or fine artist or somebody that does, is a creator of art, at some point in time in your career, you will probably be asked to do a dragon. There's a lot of different ways you can do dragons, but I just did kind of I don't want to say the normal version. There isn't really any normal versions out there for dragons, but I gave him a little bit of a twist. I gave him a little mohawk, and he's listening to some tunes on his electronic device. So that was my kind of shtick for him. So today I'm using Col Erase pencil and working on Bristol board. I actually looked for a tablet that has some colored paper, and I couldn't find any. And I usually have all that stuff readily and handily available. I guess I ran out. I got to go to the store to get some, because I love working on toned paper. It's just a great thing to draw on, and I highly recommend it. And I want you guys to understand why I like drawing on toned paper. So hopefully next week, after the weekend, I've got a huge amount of work to do over the weekend. I've got a huge project. Woo-woo, done doing it for Warner Brothers. Can't tell you what it is, though, but it might have to do with a certain wizard world. We're not going to talk too much about it. Whenever you sign non-discloses, you can't really talk about the projects you're working on in terms of specifics. But suffice it to say, it is a fun project, and I think that once everything is said and done, I'll be able to at least share you know, just like I had to do for the last one, and say that I really liked what is out there, and I liked it for numerous hours. And, you know, anyway, I don't want to get myself into trouble if anybody watches. So there's going to be a project that I really like, possibly in the future coming out. Blah, blah, blah. Can't talk about it too much. It's going to be awesome. But right now, the amount of stress that's involved is something that I don't like. So whenever you do character designs, there's a lot of different language that you learn just going through and doing a lot of characters, and you know, how you want to form the characters and how you want to, you know, what kind of shape language you want to use and how you want to do things. And so that being said, this guy's, he's not really a real evil guy. He's kind of like a surprised guy. Again, not getting too far into the super details. Just having some fun, right? Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing as artists? Here's his mouth, kind of open just a little bit. Maybe I've got a couple. And I've got that one tooth right here that comes up, so I'm going to have that lip, that top lip. There we go. There we go. So we come down. Again, I'm thinking, always thinking of, you know, shape language, how this character is fitting into, you know, this particular sketch, what he's going to look like. Okay, coming down. Maybe he's got some hair coming out here. Not too much. He's got a helmet on, so the helmet maybe has, it's got that skull right there. Maybe a jacked up tooth. Maybe he carved that out of something. I don't know. And then you've got the rivets. You know, this rivet panel. It comes here. This overlaps a little bit. Here we go. It goes here. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3 rivets. That makes sense. I'm going to color in this item right here. Give him some baggage here. Okay, come down. He's got that tooth. Maybe it's got a couple little indentations where he's used it a lot. Okay, nose. There we go. So here. Wraps around. There we go. Here, we're going to have that butt of the chin coming out here. And here's his tunic. It comes around. Good. Comes around. So you have that cheekbone right here. Comes around, and then you have that mouth area that kind of goes into this crease. Not so sure about that shape. I need to erase that because it's distracting. There we go. Much better. Give it a little bit of shading here. We're going to have that back part of his jawline come around, because his jawline's right here. So I'm going to have his neck come back over here. Okay. So thinking of the planes here, 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 here. Okay, we've got that other tooth that comes down. I want that tooth to be right here. Maybe that one comes right here. I've got this lip that comes up, over. I'm going to draw a couple creases right there. And of course that. A shade a little bit underneath to give it a little bit of form. Down here, you know, got a couple creases here, fat creases. Maybe that fat folds right here, and that's this whole chin area right here. And we're gonna give it a little bit of darkness right here, right? Gonna give it some drama. Okay, I think that one's good. We're going to move on to the next one, and then I'm going to probably ink one of them. I'll put you guys on time lapse like I did for the, maybe not, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so that was what, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes? It's 10 minutes. Okay, so let's do the next one. Yeah, like that. Come like that. It's going to have a high up. Okay, so depending on how you create the characters and where you put the eye line, everything like we talked about, you know, we talked about the whole squash and stretch thing, and how even though you can have very stylized characters, you still should adhere to some type of placement in reality. You know, whenever you have large jaw, okay, you're going to have a strong character, but if you have a large forehead, depending on how you create him, you can have a large forehead to denote intelligence, or if you have a big brow, a lot of times that'll denote some type of brutish or lummox type character. So it just depends on what, you know, you're trying to accomplish in the context of the character design, right? So like what I just did here, so I've got my circle, okay, make sure that you guys can see. Go ahead and put down the camera slightly to there. Okay, so just like what I just did, I had this eye, you know, here's the center of the head, kind of looking up this direction, right? I have that nose that comes down. I'm feeling this is a nice round form. This is the top of the nose. I come here, and whenever I come to this section, I know that that's going to be really round, so I'm not necessarily going to see inside the nose. That opening's just going to barely be there. You want to get some type of indication for that, right? And so, depending on how you want to shape, right? Give it a little pooch of a mouth. Have his mouth come down, right? And it's going to be kind of a weak character, so he's going to have hardly any chin at all. Maybe a little pooch right here. That'll be his chin. Boop. Okay. That makes sense. And his jaw is going to be like that. Not like that. That's a tangent. So one of the things that I talk about all the time to the students, and it never ceases to amaze me. So whenever you have two forms like this, okay, having them like this, it puts them, you can put them in different planes of existence. But the second you do this, and you have this area right here, this puts them on the same plane of existence. Okay? Now if you have, like if I have one object here, and I draw one object here, and I want this object to be in the distance, if you guys can see this, I'm sorry, in the distance, you can't have these touching, okay? Because it automatically flattens everything out and it puts them on the same plane of existence. See, if I have these like this, even though I want them to be, it puts them on the same plane. It's like this guy's attached to this guy. So what you want to do is either obviously have them separated like this, okay? Right? And then whenever I do this, then what happens? They're on different planes of existence, okay? This guy's in the distance, this guy's in the foreground. However, the third item would be overlapping. So these are the three, kind of illustrative practices in terms of depth of field, right? Then what happens whenever you have something like this? Okay. Now, definite distance relationship. This one's in the back, this one's behind the foreground. You just cannot have something like this. This right here is called a tangent. You don't want those things touching. And tangents can happen, when you don't even realize them because you're concentrating so much on the elements and you're not looking at the whole. So you need to, step back, look at what you guys are doing, right? So that's what was happening here. I didn't want that collar to be on the same plane of existence as the edge of the jawline. So I've got that jaw right here, okay? And he's going to be either forward or in the back. So if I do it like this, okay, and I bring this line down, then these two are separate entities. If I have them touching, it just creates a bad shape decision and a tangent, and we definitely don't want that. So we're going to have maybe again here. And notice I'm drawing light because I don't quite know yet what I'm, want to accomplish with this guy. So I kind of want this eyebrow up, and I want this eyebrow slightly down. I've got that eye here, and I've got his eye here. Okay, so here, remember I come up over that bridge of the nose, and then I come back down. Okay, and you can do, guys, listen, you can do however you want to. There's no, specifics in terms of, this is the only way to do it. That is absolutely ludicrous. So what I like to do is just basically tell people, I said, you're going to have a path. You're going to have a path of how you're going to do things. And you have to find that path. And how you do that is lots and lots of drawing. Lots and lots of drawing. Lots and lots of experimentation. Lots and lots of doing things. Look, I'm still experimenting. And that's what's really cool about art, is the fact that you guys can still, I can still have fun even after, years of doing stuff like this. And, I always joke that I'll never retire. I want to do stuff like this forever. Of course, within the past 6 months to a year, I've gotten tired. I'm tired. And I'm sure that's what happens to people who retire. They just get tired. And that's, that's a big part of the word retire, is tired. I'm just tired. I don't want to do anything anymore. But I think that as soon, and this is a well-documented event that happens with a lot of people that retire, they lose, they lose their zeal and fervor for life. And I don't ever want to do that. Okay, so we got that eyebrow that comes up. Okay, and this eyebrow comes up slightly, but not too much. And I've got this hair, or I'm sorry, the brow line, not brow line, the head in the background. I'm going to do this eyebrow to break that line here of draw through. Right? Okay, so here, and I'm going back and I'm redefining these lines. This will come here, and then this comes out slightly. Right? Maybe that tooth is just slightly bent. Right? And I've got some of these crease lines here. Got that shadow. He's looking at this guy going, you want to go down to the farmhouse? You know? Okay, so we got a little ear. Won't make it too big. I'm kind of running out of space over here. Here. I got that other ear. So what I'll do is I'm thinking in terms of this roundness, so I can see all of this, right? I can see this shape on this side. So I need to think, okay, the other one's probably going to start right here on the other side, right here. I can't see it. So I need to think, how am I going to draw that here? And his face is kind of going forward a little bit, so it needs to be down just slightly. And I'm not going to be able to see all of it. So it's just peeking through. Just peeking through. And I want this eyebrow right here to kind of go like this. And I got this face that comes here. And I got this like this. And then maybe it has some stuff coming out. Okay. Maybe got some whiskers here. Maybe he's got a, here, let's put it over here. He's got a mole, right? He's got a couple moles here. Maybe a freckle. Maybe a mole right here. Okay. Nice eyebrow, big old juicy eyebrow. Comes around. Right, comes here. Okay, so now yesterday I noticed with my Pigma pen, that the ink didn't dry as quick as I would have liked. And that made me angry. So angry. So I looked for something a little bit different, and I found this in my collection, so I really like this one. Whoops. So, that being said, we're just going to ink today. We're not going to go into color because I really don't have the time. So, hopefully I can get this done in lickety-split. Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm not feeling this pen. You pretty much know automatically. That's what I say about that. Not a big fan of that one. Let's go back to the Pigma, baby. I'll just have to make sure and draw left to right and not right to left. If I draw right to left, I'll stick my hand right in the ink. Let's see if this is dry. No! Stupid ink! Okay. Okay, so... everybody has their own way of doing things, you know, and I would never question certain aspects, you know, of a professional's life. You know, if they're being successful and they're a professional and they're getting, you know, paid for their artwork and, you know, enjoying their life, I would never question that. But whenever it comes to students, I think that a lot of times, you know, students don't have that mindset of wanting to learn. You know, I've got a couple students that basically, gosh, they have such a zeal for one aspect of art, but don't really want to, I think, get in there and start paying their dues. It's like you need to have, whenever you do stuff like this, especially, as a professional, let me make sure this is dry, because if I don't, I'll stick my hand right in it. Okay, we're good. Have that mindset that you're a student. Now, granted, I do this professionally, but I have a mindset of a student, and I've always really defaulted back to that, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that first of all, I'm humble. You want to be humble and knowing that you don't know everything. You do know a lot, but also in the same subject matter, even if you are a professional, you might know a lot, you might be successful, you always want to kind of default back to that realization that, you don't know everything. And I really rely upon that in my life to keep me grounded. I don't know everything, even though I do know a lot of things about a lot of stuff. The reality is I am still constantly surprised by the art world and, technology and different aspects and different ways of doing things. I want to always default back. What I'm basically trying to iterate to you guys is, don't have an attitude of, you're basically arrived. There's always somebody that's going to be better, always somebody that has a different perspective on what you can do. And this is important because you're going to run into people in your career, especially if you're an artist. You're going to run into people that maybe don't have a lot of experience, but they've got really good ideas, There's no replacement for experience, don't get me wrong, but as an experienced person, I can definitely look at a situation and say, hey, there's value to what this person might be saying. I ran into somebody that worked at Hard Rock, and that company is going through a huge change in terms of, what their vision is. I've been doing stuff for Hard Rock for years, and it was very hard for me not to have an attitude with the person, because even though they basically were, like a product developer or an art director or somebody, they had only been with the company, for maybe 2 years, and I had, done stuff for Hard Rock for almost 20. So I knew what Hard Rock was about. I knew the feeling. I know, what that company in terms of vision is. But the thing is that person that I was talking to had really good ideas, and they wanted to change things. So don't think in terms of, you're a person that kind of knows everything and you can't be helped. And especially as a student, that's learning this stuff, have a good attitude. Attitude equals altitude. That's one of the big things that I always preach to my children. Your attitude. There's no amount of talent. There is none. I don't care if you are the biggest, most incredible artist in the world. If you've got a piss poor attitude and you treat people in such a way that is disrespectful, or you don't respect their ideas, then nobody's going to want to work with you. That's the reality. Have a good attitude. Look at what you do with I'm getting distracted here because I'm drawing. Have a good attitude. Look at what you're doing as a process of learning. And I think if you do that, you'll have tons of success. Be humble. If you're part of a team, be part of a team. Don't be one of those people that, takes credit for everything. One of the first things, as a toy designer, that I always make sure, and this is super important for me, I always make sure if somebody, if I get something approved, even though it might have been my idea, my rendering, and this person only had a very small part in the equation, I always make sure and call it a team effort. You don't want to, sit there and pat yourself on the back. Now there are instances where if somebody makes a comment, you know, and you want to take the comment, that's fine. I'm not saying you don't take comments. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm trying to basically tell you guys is if other people are involved, don't grandstand, don't take credit, leave pride at the door. Take that out of the equation. Be a team player. And that's extremely important, especially in the art world, you know, especially when you're in a studio environment. You know, I can't tell you how many times that when I was, you know, doing stuff in studio environment, I would, you know, I'd make sure that the team was part of it. And basically what that does is it creates a better work environment. You know, and as a student, you definitely want to have that attitude whenever you graduate and go forward. So I'm going to put you guys on time lapse for the rest of this. I'll probably put in a little bit of tone just to kind of give, you know, semblance of form or something. But I'm not going to go too heavy into this. So I'll do a really quick wrap up at the end. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the videos. I'm trying to get one out to you during the week at least, not on the weekends because I don't want to work on the weekends. You know, a video a day. Hopefully it'll grow the channel a little bit more. Who knows? You know, at the end of the day, like I said before, I'm not really doing this to get followers and grow the channel and make money. But if that's a byproduct, then that's killer. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, thank you guys for visiting the channel. I really appreciate it. Again, we're trying to grow the channel a little bit so we can get a little bit more viewership, so I can start doing possibly more tutorials, maybe going to digital world. But right now, this is just primarily my warm-up. I had a guy on the channel request a while back that I just record the warm-ups, and that's all I have been doing. So again, thank you guys for liking and subscribing. Share if you like what you see. And as always, go out and draw something. Bring a little beauty to the world. We'll see you next time. Bye.